This video is all about words. What is a word? In standard English, a word is the smallest unit of meaning that can stand on its own. If you saw the words fluffy, cloud, or float, for example, those words would start to make you think of all sorts of ideas, associations, meanings, and experiences. We combine words into phrases, clauses, and whole sentences. In that sense, words are the basic building blocks of all oral and written communication. Words come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. Some are free morphemes, words like rabbit, jump, or nice. Others are bound morphemes, usually prefixes and suffixes, which combine with free morphemes to form words such as uncomfortable, rewind, and willingness. English words are always on the move. Old words fall out of use, new ones catch on, and existing words take on new meanings. Very old words that have faded from common use are called archaisms. Words like whilst and amongst are now considered archaic. Use modern alternatives such as while and among wherever you can. Newly formed words, on the other hand, are called neologisms, and many enter the language from emerging technologies, shifting cultural phenomena, and new ways of thinking. One common way to create neologisms is by blending two or more words into one, forming what we call a portmanteau. Brunch comes from breakfast and lunch, while smog combines smoke and fog. More recent examples include mansplaining and sloptimization. English also borrows heavily from other languages, which is why it includes so many loan words, words like déjà vu, doppelganger, and etc. Some words are shortened over time through clipping, as in exam, lab, and flu. Others change class without actually changing their form through a process called conversion or zero derivation. For example, when email or Google became verbs as well as nouns. Writing is fundamentally about word choice. As Margaret Atwood puts it, a word after a word after a word is power. But we don't just choose any words at random. We're always working within the rules of grammar. And we also choose words to achieve a particular style or effect for a particular audience. The words that are easiest for a general readership to understand are often short, concrete, familiar, and already frequently used in writing and conversation. Difficult words are often longer, more abstract, less familiar, and less common. Sometimes, words don't mean exactly what they seem to. When we use an idiom, such as over the moon or a walk in the park, we don't mean the words literally. Idioms differ across cultures and can be difficult for some readers to understand. Many words are also polysemous, meaning they have more than one meaning depending on context. When we talk about a word's strict dictionary definition, we call that its denotation. When we think about all the other associations or emotional overtones a word carries, we call those its connotations. Words with especially strong connotations are often called loaded words, terms such as pro-life or freedom fighter. Euphemisms soften or obscure a literal meaning, like pass away instead of die, or under the weather instead of sick. Words can also be grouped in other ways. Jargon is specialized language used in a particular field or workplace. Buzzwords are trendy terms that become fashionable and are repeated a lot. Acronyms are formed from the first letters of other words and pronounced as a single new word, like SWAT or AWOL. Initialisms are similar, but each letter is said separately, as in FBI or ATO. When writing for a particular audience, choose words that are familiar, specific, and appropriate. As the writer Arthur Plotnick once put it, diction, or overall word choice, is a partly natural, partly conscious effort. For writers, diction is always purposeful, always a costume donned for one effect or another. Just as there's no costume that's right for every occasion, there's no wording that's right for every writing task either. Archaisms may work in historical fiction, but probably not in a job application. Slang may be perfect for a group chat, but not for a university assignment. Jargon may communicate efficiently with colleagues who belong to the same field or discipline, but it can alienate a broader audience. Words also vary by register, dialect, and sociolect, reflecting time, place, community, and identity. Importantly, words don't carry meaning all on their own. They work by triggering associations in the minds of our readers and listeners. In Saussure's famous theory of how language works, a word is a sign made up of a signifier, that's its sound or shape, and the signified, all of those concepts it can point to. Because the relationship between what a word looks or sounds like and what it means is mostly arbitrary, the same word can evoke different ideas for different people at different times in different contexts. Words can therefore suggest much more than their dictionary definitions. They can also evoke memories, emotions, values, and entire social worlds. So, words are more than just little containers of meaning. The words we choose shape our tone, contribute to rhythm, help form an identity, and create connections. In the end, writing well means choosing words not only for what they say, but also for what sorts of effects they can create. Choose wisely.